Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the developer user group on this fine, warm December evening. So warm that I'm regretting my mandatory fashion choices here of having to wear a bow tie. Thank you all for joining us for our Geek of the Year competition. My name is Robert. I will be your host for this evening. If I could figure out how PowerPoint works, because now it's drawing on my screen. Stop it, PowerPoint. There we go. There we go. So my name is Robert. If you would like to open up your browser already, you can head over to play.myquiz.org. There's the room code 787640. That is how we're going to play the game tonight. We'll be using the same systems we used last year. When you get there, it's going to ask you to log in, give us a couple little details about who you are and all of that important information so we can get prizes to you. So we've still got a few minutes before we get there, but feel free to do that while we get the introductions and all the admin out the way for the evening. So this year we've stepped it up again, I hope. Hopefully nothing goes too much on fire. And if it does, at least if it goes on fire, at least it will be funny. So what can you expect this year? A lot more variety in the questions. We'll get to some of the themes this year, but we're definitely toning it down on being the best coding geek of the year and more being on the best geek of the year. So a lot more variety of questions for you. More time for answering. We heard people last year found it was a little bit frenetic trying to answer every question in 15 seconds. So now there's a bit more time. Some questions will even give you up to an entire minute to answer. We have a couple of unique formats of questions. So most of the questions, it will be multiple choice. Sometimes there is one answer. Sometimes there are more than one answers. You're going to have to work it out as you go along. We do have some questions where you're going to have to type in as well. We have one special question where you have to draw. You can use your mouse or you can use your finger on your phone if you're using a touch device or like a tablet. There's only one question like that, so if it doesn't work out too well, that's okay. That one there uses the fancy MyQuiz artificial intelligence, which is probably not artificial nor intelligent. But we will see how it works out. Just some hints for that. Try to draw very simple shapes in the middle. Don't draw it too close to the edges, otherwise it gets a bit confused. This year, the faster you answer, the more points you get. So not only is it how well you answer, it's how quick you can answer. So definitely the people who know the things off the top of their head without having to search for it, they are the ones who are going to get the most benefit there. The code for those of the, if you are looking for it, is 787640. It's on the screen if you are missing it. But yeah, anytime it'll be on the screen until we get into the game. I think it's even then while we're in the game as well. We have even more prizes. Last year, I think we only had top 5. This year, we have prizes for the top 16 players. So we got 40 participants in the call at the moment. Some of those are organizers from the user group, which we'll get to in a moment, but which means it's a very good chance that a lot of you are going to end up going home with some of our amazing prizes that have been arranged. So what type of questions can you expect? We're going to have many rounds. As you can see, some of I've listed them all out there, and each round has about 5 to 8 questions in them. They're tough. I would say it's more a game of trying to figure out if you get the least mistakes more than you get the most right. But these are really, really tough questions this year. We've dug deep and found some very obscure trivia to make it really nice and tricky for you. So scoring, I mentioned it's fastest gets bonus points, but how does the rest of scoring work? On the multiple choice, if you get all the options correct, you get 100 points. If there is only one correct answer, you get it right, 100 points for you. If there is 3 correct answers and you select all of them with no incorrect ones, you get 100 points. If you select an incorrect answer alongside a correct one, so for multiple choice where there is more than one answer, this is when this applies, the correct ones are only worth 20 points each. So it's a big drop if you select an incorrect answer. If you get something completely wrong, it's 0 points. For the times you're going to have to type in, it is, once again, just the straight up 100 points. And if there's only one correct answer in a multiple choice, it's also just the 100 points that matter. And whoever gets there, the quicker you get your answers in, you get up to 50 points for getting the speed of selection. Right, so that's really how points and scoring are going to go. Let's get into the important stuff, the prizes for tonight. So if you come 16th, we have a 40,000 milliamp power bank. 15th place will walk away with a bamboo laptop desk and letterboard. 14th place, Instamax mini camera. 13th place, Cooler Master keyboard and mouse combo. 12th place is a 1,000 Rand voucher to Reader's Warehouse. 11th place is a 2 terabyte hard drive. 10th place is a Google Nest mini smart speaker, which I really want one of those. 9th place, Settlers of Catan. It's not going to be a Geek of the Year if I don't get to throw in some board games. That's one of the set surprises, because you know I love a good board game. In 8th place, a dash cam, almost essential for driving in, you know, the roads nowadays and how crazy they are. At 7th place, it's a 1,200 Rand voucher for Steam. 6th place is an AlphaBot robot building kit. 5th place is a Xiaomi TV box. 4th place is either Memoir 44 board game or Risk, or some sort of war game or board game like that we can get for you. 3rd place is a UPS that's powerful enough to run your laptop. Absolutely essential for load shedding. In 2nd place, if you come 2nd, it's a drone with a fancy camera. And 1st prize is a projector and a screen, because nothing says Geek of the Year like being able to have your own movie theater in your house. So we have some amazing prizes. I'm very jealous that I can't win any of them. And I hope that whoever gets them really does enjoy them. All prizes are going to be, once you win, you will get a little message on your screen with a special code and our email address. Just email us that code and your delivery details, and we will arrange it delivered straight to you. If it's out of stock from our online suppliers, we'll arrange with you to get something similar that makes sense for you. And obviously, if you are not from South Africa, we can't ship to you, or I mean, we may be able to, and you can pay us a lot of money or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, the rule says we only ship to South Africa. Before we get into the game, I just want to say a big thank you. This has been an amazing year for the developer user group. We've had our biggest attended event ever. We've had speakers from all over the world, and it wouldn't be possible without the number of the leads in here. You get to hear me tonight, and I get to look all impressive with my fancy hat, but I'm just one of many. So there's Bradley, Brian, Candace, Evolt, Ezra, Joan, Joshua, and Nati, who all give up their time to setting up meetings, to arranging speakers and chasing that sort of stuff. Some of them have presented themselves this year. They do a lot of work there. And behind the scenes, it's a very special thanks to Marie, who helps us with all our admin. She's the one who will help you with your prizes. She does so much for us. And just big thanks to her, especially from all of us, for how much she does for the user group. And also a big thank you to Intellect. They've been sponsoring us on Zoom for the last 2 years, or however long this pandemic is, 9 or 10 years, it feels like some days. So big thank you to them for their support over this year, helping us with making sure we have Zoom, and again, for sponsoring Zoom tonight. Right. Before we get to the games, a little reminder on questions. If there are some questions of multiple choice, it's not immediately obvious. If you think it sounds like there are more than one answer, try click. It will not let you click more than one if it's only got one correct answer. If there is more than one correct answer, it will let you click more than one of them. And you must click confirm before the time runs out. There's a confirm button. If you don't click it, it doesn't count. I made this mistake many times practicing through this. Got to click confirm before the time runs out. So if you don't, it's not going to work well for you. Right. So with that, let's jump across to the quiz. And I don't know why it's cutting off the bottom of my screen. I blame Microsoft. Windows machine is a Windows machine. Oh, actually, let's see if that does it. There we go. That'll be better. Right. So we have 43 people on the call, 33 people. Give it another minute or so just to see if anyone else joins. So you got 36 people, all users, and 33 active. I have no idea what the difference between active and an all user could be. Yeah, let's see. Got about 10 people more Again, if you want to join, it's play.myquiz.org. And then the room code is 787-640. Give us a minute or so, and then we'll kick it off. All right. Everyone ready? Everybody set? Okay. Let's start this. And we're going to start off with our first section, the programming geek. It would not be a geek of the year if we didn't ask some programming questions at the developer user group. So on to our first 5 questions, all on programming. Question number 1. What is the following? Which of the following is the legal identifier in the assembly programming language? So which, if you were going to create a variable of the, could you use one of these to name it? 10%, A1, blah, 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 ELF flags, or July 2012. Ooh, with only 17% getting it correct. It's July_2012. Oh, not a good start for some people there. Which of these mail protocols have some real usage? Is it IMAP, POP4, K-pop, or SMTB? So which of these are actually mail protocols and have real sort of usage in the world? Lots of people getting IMAP. Yes, that's great. Almost nobody getting K-pop. K-pop's the best one. You all thought it was for Korean pop music, admit it. But no, it's the Kerberized Post Office Protocol. After that horrible question, what does HTML stand for? I feel like we gave too much time on this one. It's quite nice and easy, I hope. Oh, look at that. Smashing 95% of you got the answer correct. Well done. Nothing too exciting on that one. Onto Python. What is the origin of the Python script, the Python language's name? So why was it called Python? It's named after the company and it wanted to express its dynamic nature and power as a scripting language. The creator thought it was a cool name. It's named after Monty Python's Flying Circus. It was named after Python, the earth dragon of Delphi, which is a serpent from ancient Greece. It was named after Python of somebody, a student of Plato. Yeah. I like the idea of that personally, the earth dragon of Delphi, because my first programming language was Delphi, which is named after the place in Greece. I think more things should be named after that. I have no idea if that's the correct answer. But that would be, it'd be nice symmetry in my life for that. And 2, 1. Ooh, look at all you smart people. I don't know if you're really fussed with the Google or if you knew this. It's named after, yeah, most of you seem to know it's named after Monty Python's Flying Circus. I had no idea. What was Java called before it was Java? Was it called Maple, Oak, Tea, Coffee, or was it called JavaScript? And I think we all know which one the answer is there. Definitely named JavaScript and then was, shortened. Because shortened is always a better way to name things. It's named Oak. James Gosling named it after a tree that stood outside his office. I guess that's a good enough name as anything else, right? Right, so that brings us to the end of round 1. We've got Kagiso, Lo, and Myrick in spots 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to dive into history. So first history question, what is the defensible space theory? I warned you this was going to be really tough this year. It's a design theory for castles, the official name of the 1980 Star Wars program, a common strategy in soccer, or a theory of architecture to reduce crime. It is a theory of architecture to reduce crime. Well done. 40% of you. That is amazing. Well done. I would not have gotten that myself. That is such a tricky one. Which of these historic panic buying are real? So panic buying, when people go out and do crazy buying lots of things for no apparent reason. Which of these are real? There's multiple correct ones here. The 1875 sugar panic buying in the United Kingdom, 85's Coca-Cola panic buying in the United States, the 1943 tiger panic buying in India, the 1973 toilet paper buying in the United States, or the 1634 tulip panic buying in Holland. I'm sure many of you are going to hate me for this one because it's a bit sneaky, but that tulip panic buying in Holland, latest stuff says it didn't exist. Most of you got the toilet paper buying correct. The Coca-Cola one was the other one. Panic buying for Coca-Cola because of new Coke coming out in the 80s. The oldest surviving film was filmed in which year? There's a still from it. It was like 3 seconds long or 4 seconds long. Was it 1888, 1898, 1908, or 1918? Obviously, only one correct choice. You can't be filmed in more than 1 year. Yeah, there we go. 1888. Well done to most of you getting that correct. Yeah, and it was literally just a boring film of people walking across a garden like that. Where and when was the world's first Ferris wheel opened? Was it in New York in 1874, Paris in 1894, London in 1873, Chicago in 1893, and Brazil in 1844? And that is a picture of the first Ferris wheel, if it gives you any help. Looking at the buildings in the background, GeoGuessr style. Yeah, wow. Look at all of you. Chicago in 1893. Yes, it was opened there at the Chicago World's Fair. One of the most fantastic places to sort of have a look at. There's histories there. What monument, nicknamed the Iron Lady, was called useless and monstrous when it was first unveiled? Is it the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, the Motherland Calls, or the Little Mermaid? Yep. 50% of you getting it 100% correct. It's the Eiffel Tower. It was called useless and monstrous. It was also created for a World's Fair, like the Ferris wheel, and people expected it to fall over. Why is this computer famous? It's the world's first web server, the only machine that had a copy of Toy Story 2 on it when it was lost or deleted at Pixar, the only server in space, the machine that JavaScript was originally created on. That is correct. Most of you got that right as well. It's the world's first web server created Tim Berners-Lee when he was at CERN, and that was the machine he works on. And question 7, final question for this round. Who was the first person to sail around the world? Was it Columbus, Magellan, da Gama, Dias, or Drake? Really testing your primary school knowledge here. I'm pretty sure I learned this in primary school. I can't remember anymore. Wow. Look at all of you. You're way smarter than I am. I'm feeling very, very sheepish at how good all of you are. Ferdinand Magellan, first person to sail around the world. Excellent. Right. That brings the end of the history round. And we'll be moving on to our third round with the sports questions. A complete first this time, because can't be a real geek unless you geek in many things. And many of our geeky friends are sports fans. So let's start off with an easy one. How many times has South Africa won the Rugby World Cup? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Especially, I was thinking of Joshua, many-time reigning champion of the Geek of the Year when I wrote this one. If he doesn't get it right, it's going to be embarrassing. No. Don't tell me I've got this wrong. How could I get Why is only 20% of people got that? Some sports don't belong in geekdom. What is the lowest 18-hole score in the PGA Tour? 58, 59, 60, or 61. So a round of golf on the PGA Tour, what's the lowest you could score? What's the lowest that's been scored? At least at time when I put these questions in. So assuming in the last sort of 3 weeks. If somebody's beaten in the last week, it's going to be sad. It's 58. In fact, the guy was on track for a 57 and he missed his putt, which is quite crazy. If you do 57 divided by 3, it's by 18, it's quite fast. Who has the most fastest lap records in Formula One? Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Kimi Raikkonen, or Michael Schumacher? Again, this may have been written before the last race. I think Lewis did get fastest lap as well, so who knows? Oh, big split between Lewis and Michael. It's Michael. Now I've got the numbers down there, but you can see Michael is completely just dominated everyone else there. Joys of the fastest car in those days. Which football clubs, so multiple answers here, have won over 100 trophies? Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Barcelona, Al Ahly, or Rangers? So these are sort of club level trophies, not, Soccer World Cup trophies, have won over 100 trophies. It is Al Ahly in Egypt and Rangers in Scotland. Rangers is like the second. I think Al Ahly's first in the world for like number of trophies. I guess they just don't have a lot of competition in their countries. If you're doing a bull rush, what sport are you playing? Are you playing soccer, American football, Australian rules football, or croquet? It's American football. Correct. Each of the rings in the Olympic flag has a specific meaning. What do they mean? So the colors, what the 5 original sports, the 5 original cities. There is no meaning. Robert is just messing with you. Or the 5 continents. It's the 5 continents. Each color in the Olympic logo relates to a specific continent. I have no idea which one is which though. The golf course at Camp Boniface is famous for being the only golf course in the world that has children as members, being the world's most dangerous golf course, being the world's longest golf course, being the world's shortest golf course. Oh, most of you getting that correct. Yeah, being the world's most dangerous golf course. It's on an army base on the border of North Korea. It's pretty dangerous there. Right, the geography geek question. And when I was searching for pictures for this, Confused Brittany is the best picture I've seen all day. So we all get to be like Confused Brittany when it comes to your geography now. Right, at 6,000 kilometers, the Golden Quadrilateral Highway is one of the longest roads in the world. Where is it? Is it in India, the US of A, Russia, or Australia? Can you imagine that for your trip to work? Still probably be faster than going on the M1. It is in India. Oh, some good guesses there from people. Yeah, it's such a like massively long road. A lot of people going for Russia as well. Makes sense. Bur Tawil is famous for being the only place on Earth without insects, the only place on Earth in which is in all 4 hemispheres at the same time, the only habitable place on Earth not claimed by any government, the only place on Earth which is owned by animals. Many of you getting it correct. The only habitable place on Earth not claimed by any government. It's just south of Egypt, and 2 countries have both think it belongs to somebody else, and so neither country owns it. McMurdo's dry valleys in Antarctica has not had rain for 2 million years, 200,000 years, 20,000 years, 2,000 years, or 200 years. You see why they're called the dry valleys, because even at 200 years, that's pretty far to not go without any rain. Caught some of you out there, but yeah, 2 million years with no rain in McMurdo. It is pretty dry there. Gangkar Pensum is the highest what mountain in the world, the highest waterslide mountain in the world, snow-free mountain in the world, man-made mountain in the world, or unclimbed mountain in the world. It is the highest unclimbed mountain in the world and will remain so. It is illegal to climb up it for religious reasons. So nobody will ever climb that mountain, and it will keep that title forever. What is special about Panon de Velez de la Gomera? I completely butchered that. That is the place there in the picture. It's the world's smallest country. It has the world's shortest border, the world's first man-made island, the world's most exclusive hotel. It has the world's shortest border at something like 600 meters in length with one country. And you can't sort of get to it by anything other than a helicopter. Agloe, New York, is a famous town for being what? Having nobody actually live there, not really existing, being the original name for New York City, or having more police than residents. Being America, I can believe D could be an answer. Agloe, New York is a famous town for what reason? For not really existing. It's what's called a paper town. People put it on maps as a way of sort of showing that they created the map. And if anybody copied their maps, they would see it and be able to go do copyright claims on them. People have been doing that nonsense for very long. Didn't just start with YouTube. So now for something a bit different. What do you say when you see this character? Type in your answers. Bazinga! It's the only thing you can say when you see that. If it's your first time at the user group, I'm sorry. We do this every year. There's always a Sheldon. You always have to say bazinga. Right, moving on to our next section, the word geek, all about the origins and meanings of words. The longest English sentence you can make with the same word has how many times is the word repeated in it? So it's the same word repeated 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, or 10 times. It's 8. It's down there. I've given you a whole minute for it. But the longest valid sentence is buffalo, 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 buffalo. Because buffalo has many meanings. It means a bison. It means the place in New York. It means to confuse. And so when you put it all together like that and using some weird things in the English language where you can skip out some things, it means that buffalo from bison, bison from buffalo, which other buffalo from bison confuse the bison from buffalo. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good sentence. It's not going to win you any prizes, but it's definitely a unique one in itself. Right. What is RAS syndrome? Redundant acronym syndrome, rarely acute sentences, recursive acronym sentences, risk-averse sayings. RAS syndrome is redundant acronym syndrome. This is where the last word of the acronym is also repeated, like ATM machine. You've already said machine, pin number. Circumflex, umlaut, and macron are examples of what in writing? Symbols, punctuation, diacritics, or omicron. I think I did this before. Omicron was a variant. Oh, I'm hopefully not triggering anybody too badly today. I'm sorry if I am. It's a form of a diacritic. It's those little symbols above certain letters that some use many of them for words we've stolen from French. Ooh, I have lost my internet connection. That is a weird problem. The quiz will continue while I have no idea what's going on. Usain Bolt. Ooh. Yeah. Usain Bolt, Scott Speed. Well, I won't have time to read all of that for you. Their names are all examples of aptamins, where their name kind of implies what they do. Scott Speed is a race car driver. Francine Prose is a writer, and so on. What is the name of this weird shaped letter? Is it a thorn, a yogth, a win, an eth? Here to find some fascinating letters. It is either a thorn or an eth, depending on which sort of language you're looking at. Right, and that brings us to the end of word geeks. We'll move on to movie geeks, making it a lot more tricky here. Right. What is the longest film ever made? Is it Beijing 2003, Modern Times Forever, Logistics, or the 4K Lord of the Rings director's cut? It's a film called Logistics, and it's 35 days and 17 hours long. I don't know why you would want to watch it, but people do. The other times for the other films in there that are real answers are all listed. These are all actual real films that have real multiple day running lines. It's crazy. These are more art films than reality, I'm sure. Which of these films crossovers are real? The Flintstones and the WWE Stone Age SmackDown, the adventures of Seinfeld and Superman, Bambi meets Godzilla, Popeye meets the man who hated laughter, and Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Lewis Hamilton. Oh, these are great. Every single one of these I want to watch now. Every one of them is real except for Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Lewis Hamilton. Bambi meets Godzilla's got to be the best on that. I think Seinfeld and Superman, I can't tell which. Which film has the most usage of the F word? SwearNet the movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, Uncut Gems, or Casino? It is a movie called SwearNet the movie, which has it 935 times. The Wolf of Wall Street at 569, Uncut Gems at 506, and Casino at 422. It's a lot of swearing in some of those films, especially for just one swear word. Right, penultimate for the movie quiz. Which of these actors has played James Bond in at least one of the 23 007 movies? Burt Reynolds, Barry Nelson, George Lazenby, Ralph Fiennes, or Sean Connery? George Lazenby and Sean Connery, obviously the great Connery himself. But everyone else on that list was on a short list at some point to be James Bond. And I really do want a Burt Reynolds James Bond now. Lastly, in the MCU, which of these characters have appeared in more than 7 films? Captain America, Black Widow, Pepper Potts, Bucky / the Winter Soldier, and War Machine. All of them except for Pepper Potts have been in at least 7 films. I think if I remember correctly, it's Captain America is the one who's been in the most of all of them. Seems to be in all of them. Right. So from sitting and watching movies to sitting and reading books. Right. What does the Bulwer Lytton Fiction Contest award prizes for? Remakes of Shakespeare stories in modern settings, the longest book written using the fewest different letters, books written where the protagonist is a talking dog, an atrocious opening sentence. The answer is it's a prize for the most atrocious opening sentence. I've given a big chunk of time here so we can all enjoy the winner of this year's dark and stormy category opening sentence, because they have multiple different categories and they're all available on their website if you are interested. So here we go. It was a dark and stormy night. The rain fell in torrents, except at occasional intervals, when it was checkered by violent gusts of wind, which swept up the streets, for it is London that our scene lies. Rattling along the housetops, fiercely aggregating the scantily frame of the lamps that struggled against the darkness. Yeah, it's a sentence for sure. And it tells you a lot about the place, but yeah, that is the winner of the worst sentence in the dark and stormy category for the year. Right. Who wrote the book Fart Proudly? Was it Ryan Reynolds, Barack Obama, Benjamin Franklin, Marie Antoinette, or Francis Ford Coppola? Benjamin Franklin. Oh, many of you getting this. Many of you probably know then that he's famous for writing lots of really disgusting books. He also wrote a lot of like very adult material as well. What sci-fi trope is hidden inside The Lord of the Rings? Is it aliens, time manipulation, robots, the metaverse, or parallel worlds? The great fantasy work includes a secret bit of sci-fi in it. It's time manipulation, because the elves age at different rates, and if they go to the land over the seas, time works slower and faster there. What are real Pulitzer Prize? Which of these are real Pulitzer Prize categories? Investigative reporting, video game story, music, short story, or comic book? So what can you win a Pulitzer Prize for? Which categories? Which of these categories could you win a Pulitzer Prize for? And that Pulitzer Prize not only get the fancy medal, you get money with it as well. You get Pulitzer Prizes for investigative reporting and for music. When I saw this, I was quite amazed. Nothing for anything we care about, it seems. Unless you're a music geek, I guess. Lewis Carroll, author of Alice in Wonderland's real name was Charles Dodson, Erica Peterson, Charlie Dane, or Daniel Peters. It is Charles Dodson. Right, and that brings us to the end of that round on books. We'll move on to our next section on Science Geeks. Leaderboard is up on the screen for you to have a look and see where you are placed. Remember, prizes for the top 15. And now we'll get into some sciencey questions. The famous blue marble photo from Apollo 17 shown there was changed by NASA. What was the change? The Earth was changed from a flat object to round. Clouds were added. The terminator was removed, so the Earth is always a thin day. It was flipped vertically. The stars behind were removed. Yeah, many of you getting it right. I'm a little worried some of you went flat, but it was flipped vertically. It was shot upside down, and people didn't like the idea that Africa looked upside down in it, so they flipped it over. What is the Waffle House Index? This is a real science thing. The basis of relative income across America, the scale of assistance required for a disaster recovery, rates of obesity across America, the number of US president candidates per state. It is the scale of assistance required for disaster recovery using Waffle Houses for some reason. I'm not sure how it all works. There is a whole Wikipedia page on that one. Dihydrogen monoxide can cause severe burns, may cause electrical fires, and decreased effectiveness of automobile brakes, contributes to the erosion of the natural landscape, used in nuclear power plants, and used as an additive in certain junk foods and other products. Is that true or false? Is dihydrogen monoxide this horrible, disgusting thing that will burn me and electrocute me? Or is it false? Is it something completely else? Very dangerous from this list. And it's in our food as well. Quite concerning. Ooh, many of you getting that right. Dihydrogen monoxide, also commonly known as H2O or water, can do all of those things. How does the 26th Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union relate to material sciences? It's the 26th Congress claimed that the moon was made of cheese. They funded the deepest hole ever drilled. The 26th Congress is the name of a diamond, or the 26th Congress forced all people in the USSR to go dig a hole for science. Oh, many of you got this wrong. It is the name of the largest diamond ever found. It was named the 26th Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. I mean, nothing for name there. There is one statue on the moon. What is the statue of? Is it of JFK, famous American president, an astronaut, a UFO, a dog, or a wedge of cheese? It is of an astronaut. Yeah, congrats. It was snuck onto the moon. There's not supposed to be any up there. So a couple of astronauts snuck it up there on one of the Apollo flights. Right, on to video games. Somebody was in the comments, in the chat thread, was talking about having esports. This is the closest we're going to get this year. What are the different types of players in the Bartol taxonomy of player types? So a way of grouping and defining how players play video games. Killers, explorers, paragons, hunters, and socializers are your choices. There are more than one here. And it is killers, explorers, and socializers are the 3 of the 5. There are 2 other ones, and I have no idea what they are off the top of my mind right now. If you press the boss key in a video game, what does it do? It takes you to the boss of the game. It turns you into the boss of the game. It shows a fake business looking application. It takes you to the main menu. It shows a fake business looking application. So that if your boss walks in behind you, press it and it looks like you're doing work. It comes from the days of DOS when you didn't kind of alt tab out of whatever you're playing to Excel. In which game do players compete in a futuristic version of soccer with cars? Is it Rocket League, Five Nights at Freddy's, Fortnite, or supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars? It is Rocket League and supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars, which was the original name for Rocket League before they rebranded. It's a sneaky one, that one. When was the first Call of Duty released? Was it 97, 2000, 2003, or 2006? Do you know how hard it is to find a picture of Call of Duty without Game of the Year and the year stickers on it, on like a little box art picture? It took ages to find this picture where it's just the box art. This kind of gives it away. It's, wow, amazing. 2003. I keep feeling like it's 1997. Call of Duty seems like it's been around forever and absolutely ever. In FIFA 2020 and 2021, it is missing one famous soccer team. So the FIFA from EA Sports game, which team is it missing? Is it Juventus, Leicester, Paris Saint-Germain, Dortmund, or Man U? By FIFA, one of those teams you cannot play as. It is Juventus. They signed an exclusivity agreement with Pro Evolution Soccer, and so they're the only one. So there's now also a fake Juventus in the game. Right, moving on to cars, because car geeks are also a different type of geek. Right, the Peel P50 is the world's what production car? Longest production car, fastest production car, smallest production car, or slowest production car? Production car meaning something you could actually buy. F1 cars may be faster, but you can't really buy them unless you're a Russian oligarch. It's the world's smallest production car. Tiny little thing. Doesn't even have reverse because it's so small you get out. It's got a handle in the back and you just pull it with the handle. I'm not even joking. That's how it works. Miss Belvedere is the name of a car that is famous for what reason? Being the first car made in Detroit, being buried for 50 years, being the car from the movie Driving Miss Daisy, being the name of Elon Musk's car, which he shot into space. It's famous for being a car that was buried for 50 years and unburied as part of some sort of time capsule thing. Lamborghini has a bull for a logo, but why? Lamborghini is Italian for the word bull. They measured their first production cars in bull power rather than horsepower. They tried to copy Ferrari's planting horse logo and put their own little spin on it. They originally sold farming equipment. They originally sold farming equipment. Lamborghini is a farming company, so they have bulls on their logo because they sold tractors. And now you can still get for Lamborghini tractors. What was the original color for all Ferrari models? Red, black, silver, or yellow? Ford was like, you can have any color for any color you want as long as it's black. Ferrari was, you can have any color as long as it's red. Ferraris are red. We all know this. Come on, people. This is a sneaky, tricky one. I know. I'm sorry. I told you it was a tough. It's going to be a tough year. Last one for cars. Who designed the Volkswagen Beetle? Was it Carl Benz, Henry Ford, Joseph Ganz, or Ferdinand Porsche? It was Ferdinand Porsche, same Porsche who did, Porsche. Right. And now, again, for something a little different. Ooh, what happened to that question? That was weird. Now nothing different, I guess. That question might pop up randomly at some other point, I'm guessing. All right, we'll move on. To maths questions. A lot of typing in here. What is the only number that has the same number of letters as its meaning? So if you write out the number as a word, it's got the same number of letters as it means. Very complicated one. Let's try and say. 4. 4 has 4 letters. Look at all of you smart people, 82% of you. Well done. You understand my broken explanations far better than I. How many sides does a nonagon have? Again, typing question. Nine sides is the correct answer. Many of you getting that right. Well done. Nonagon 9. So now you can add it to hexagons and octagons and nonagons. What is negative 40 degrees Celsius when converted to Fahrenheit? 40 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, or 80 degrees Fahrenheit? It is negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It's the only place where Celsius and Fahrenheit line up with the same number. Everywhere else there, it's a different number, but at negative 40, it's negative 40 on both. Typing again, what is the first number to contain the letter A? And this will, and excluding of, sneaky things like the word and or a. So you can't say 100, that doesn't count. 101 doesn't count. What is the first number to contain the letter A? Single word you need to type. Many of you probably started counting already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Is it A and 20? It's 1,000. 1,000 is the first, the number to have, first number to have the letter A in it. 1,000. Lastly, who created the game of life? Was it Ronald Ross, Charles Babbage, George Boole, or John Conway? All of them famous mathematicians. And it's John Conway, thus Conway's game of life. Right, moving on to our penultimate round, the Art Geek. Where is the sculpture Cryptus, which you can see pictured there, found? Is it found in Moscow in Russia, Washington, D.C., Langley, Virginia in the US of A, or in London, UK? It is found in Langley in Virginia, home of the CIA, I think it is. It has actually got encryption on there, and it has not all been broken yet. What is the largest public art event in the world? Is it the Cow Parade, the International Public Art Festival, Banksy, or the Met? It is the Cow Parade, the largest public art event in the world, happens around the world. Companies and individuals buy giant plastic cows and paint them and have big parades with them. The Chamber of Art and Wonders is a cabinet of rarities created by which sovereign ruler? Ferdinand II, Queen Elizabeth II, King Mswati III, or Louis Philippe I? which one of them created this thing called the Chamber of Arts and Wonders. Picture there, it's a bit more than a cabinet, I think. An entire room of famous things. It's Ferdinand II, filled with all these sort of little trinkets and things he'd found across the world and kept in his castle. What does the droste effect mean in art? The effect of a picture with only 3 colors in it. It is the effect of a picture being the same when viewed normally and upside down. The proper name for those 3D pictures, you kind of had to squint at to see what they were. It is the effect of a picture recursively appearing within itself. It is obviously not, we're talking about the brand established pub here that we have in South Africa. That's a different droste effect. It is the effect of a picture that recursively contains itself. First one was a picture of a woman holding up a can of like tomato soup or something, and her picture holding up the can was on the can, and so on. Wassily Kandinsky is credited as the pioneer of modern art, abstract art, pop art, or cubism art. Wassily Kandinsky, if I'm probably butchering that as well. And is credited as the pioneer of abstract art. Right, and that will bring us to the end of the art round and onto our final round, the TV series Geek. All about TV series. Last chance to score some points and catch up. Remember, you can earn 100 points per question, and you can earn 50 points for being the fastest. So you can really start to figure out where you're likely to be able to catch up to. And remember, top 16 are all winning prizes. So on to our last sets of questions. Conspiracy 58 was a mockumentary which claimed which event never actually happened. The 1958 World Cup never happened. Miss World 1958 never happened. The 30th Academy Awards in 1958 never happened. Or DevConf 2021 never happened. Yep, it may be correct. It was a mockumentary that said that the 1958 World Cup never happened, which it totally did. DevConf 2021 didn't happen. It's very sad. I Want to Marry Harry is an American reality TV show where contestants try to marry which famous Harry? Harry Truman, the president, Prince Harry from the UK, Harry Styles, the singer, or Harry Kane, the footballer. American TV show where you get to marry somebody else. Oh, look at many of you getting this right. Prince Harry is the correct answer. His wife, Meghan Markle, was not a contestant. She didn't win it that way. Yeah, I just like that you have a TV show like that. TV pickup is a phenomenon in the UK that involves surges in demand on the electrical grid caused by lots of people turning on their kettles to make tea at the same time. Is it true or false? It is true. It happens in the middle of football matches at halftime, when everyone gets up and goes and turns the kettle on. It causes such massive demands on the electrical grid that they have to plan for it by sort of powering up the generators ahead of time. Which show involved Cylons as evil robots? Was it Star Trek, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica, or The Expanse? Battlestar Galactica had Cylons as evil robots, and at some point they looked like humans, and at some point they didn't. I'm not sure how it all worked. I've only watched little bits of it. And final question for the evening. Which show included the first interracial kissing scene on air? Was it Star Trek, Dallas, Gilligan's Island, or the Addams Family. It was Star Trek. In fact, William Shatner was so determined to have that scene in that they filmed it twice, once with the kiss and once without, and he screwed up it every time when they didn't do it. And there we go. Well done to our winners. Joshua Lewis, who I think has won this event more times than anyone else. I don't know if you, I can't remember. I don't think you won last year, but well done on winning again this year. Mitzley, I'm hoping pronouncing that correct. Congrats in second, Brennan third, and so on down our top 10 there. I'll go into our next page in a moment. See who came in. Remember, prizes all the way down to 16th. Congrats to all our prize winners. You should get a little thing on your screen at the moment with a little unique code and our email address. If you just drop us your code and your delivery details and so on to that email address, we'll get your prizes out to you as soon as possible. So that brings us to the end of our Geek of the Year. Thank you, everybody, tonight for joining us. Hope you had a good, fun time, and that we get to see you all very soon again. There won't be any Dev UG next month, being January. We take January off, and we will be back again in February. If you'd like to speak at the developer user group, please feel free to reach out to any of us, or you can email us at admin@developerusergroup.org.za. Love to have you on stage speaking one evening. Really friendly if you want to do a 10-minute talk, or it was a first timer, or you want to do a whole hour talk, we can accommodate you. So yeah, thank you so much again, everyone, and have a really great festive season and keep safe in these really difficult times. And good night.